What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Dudeality podcast, where our motto is living comfortably uncomfortable. My name is Ian Perez, joined by Jonathan Mercado, Victor Rivera, and Chris Zora. We're four ordinary dudes with extraordinary dreams. Jonathan.
Let's go, guys. What's up, guys?
What's happening?
What's going on?
Yo,
Happy
it's
Sunday. Happy
hot.
Sunday.
It's getting hotter in this garage, and I yet to find I haven't looked for an AC fan. Sorry.
I saw one at the Walmart, $40. I'll buy it.
I like how we try to play it out like I haven't been able to find one quite yet, but then he got him. Just like, all right, you know what? I didn't look.
It's comparable. While we were fixing or setting the podcast set up, we're sweating, or mainly Ian. He's fucking sweating, and it reminded me of the movie Ace Ventura when he's out in the jungle and he's inside the rhino. Y'all not remember that movie?
Dude, I don't remember that movie.
I remember him being inside the rhino, but I don't remember that much about it.
Oh, they're great movies. I still watch them.
He gets locked in and essentially comes out the rhino
naked.
Quote, unquote,
Oh,
naked,
yeah, I remember that.
Like
but he was just like dripping in sweat. So that's what it reminded me of. That's how it feels in here, guys. So, bear with us if you're watching us and we're having to wipe our sweat and our muckles and all that good stuff. So if we happen to strip down during this podcast, that's the reason why. So there's some explanation behind it.
Exactly.
Jonathan's trying to find an excuse to
I'm
take
trying to
off the shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Just
I
trying
told
to
the
find an
guys-
excuse to take off a shirt.
So Victor, we asked Victor, why in the hell is he wearing a sweater? And it's the same hot as it is over here. And he said he wanted to change it up. And I was like, cool, I'll take my shirt off and we can change it up too. No, man, tell me how y'all's week went.
My was good. It was good. It
Let's do
went
some
fast for me.
What is it?
It went fast for me. I felt it went fast. But I just busy, staying busy with the family, training and stuff like that. But also got me thinking about like it's almost half the year is almost gone. So
That's nice.
So I was starting to think like, oh man, I gotta like, what have I done in the last 6 months? So some things have been doing good. Something has kind of dropped off a little bit. I was thinking about my once a month family thing. I was just remember I didn't do one last month. We've been so busy with like my wife's security business and stuff like that. It's just lost track of like planning
That
something.
thing's popping. I feel like there's a holiday every week.
Bro, yeah, it's good, man. Like she got a bunch of orders more like each time, like each like I would say her like promo or holiday or like things he focuses on, like she's like she gets more orders and more orders, like her like it's getting out there. So I'm proud of her, man. Like all she thinks about right now is just like she's in that mode.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of her.
Watch out, Vic. You were an entrepreneur, and now you might have to go back to being an employee. Her employee.
Yeah. She was like, I'm the baby. So like when she's doing her stuff, like I take the kids because she has to like focus and do all her stuff.
Yeah.
She's like she's already thinking of what she's gonna do next time. So I'm proud of her, man.
How long does it take to make one board? Do you know?
It depends on the size, but she
Like
spends
average.
a good minute. He spends like 15 30 minutes sometimes depending on what it is, because she always do something different. Like she's always like different designs and stuff like that. She makes it a little different here and there, and not one board is the same. Like she might give you one, might give it with a completely different design. So she's like, it's her time to shine when she does that. And so
it was funny because she put a message up for Mother's Day for boards, and Steph loves them, but she's just not real keen on like little sandwich meats. So I messaged Liz on IG. I was like, hey, have you ever made one with like just strictly like chocolate covered fruits? And she says, bro, do you think this is what's it, edible arrangements? And then Steph and I just lost our like we just cracked up. But she was like, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I can, but I never put an order in. So sorry, Liz. I'll do it soon.
She can do whatever, man. It's creative, Liz.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still trying to get that heart one. You know that chocolate's like a heart.
Yeah.
It's like a hard shell of a heart. She's still trying to master. It cracks every time.
So get
one
it.
day,
Practice. Deep practice.
But we benefit from it because we eat chocolate. We eat the chocolate that's cracked. They're like, oh, let's eat this.
They missed it. You caught it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Deep practice.
That's why you need to be here.
Mm.
But now my week, I don't know. Valerie's 3 weeks old, and I swear it feels like we've had her months. That's how long it's felt.
Yeah.
Women really are super people just because of like, I try and get up and help like with feeding, but I really can't do much because I can't give nothing.
That
So
mom,
the fact that Steph's just constantly up and just every couple
some-
hours and still being
they're-
able to be a good mom.
they're made for it, man. They're born with it, man.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So shout out to you, babe. Love you. It's awesome.
Shout out to all the moms.
All the
brother.
mamas, true,
They're
true.
Crazy
Yeah.
superhuman beings.
Yep.
Vic, what you got, Chris?
Mostly just work like usual. I've been reading. Jonathan and I had a meeting with
Oh yeah.
What's the
our
update?
broker, and
It's going better out here. It's getting better.
yeah, we put in an offer for our first property.
boy.
Yeah.
We'll see what they
shoot.
say.
Yeah.
But we already signed on our side. Just need
Awesome,
to
bro.
see
That's-
if they will accept it.
That's what happens when you don't give up.
What's the
Yep.
product?
Yeah.
Not product. I guess it is a product. What's the house look like? What's the layout?
It's nice. It's actually pretty big. It's 5-bedroom, 2 baths.
Oh,
Something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
big.
mean, yeah, I mean it's about, I think, 1,200. It's about 12,
So-
1,300 square feet. So it's a small house.
It's a small house, but
But
5
it has a lot of-
bedrooms.
yeah.
A lot of
So it's
rooms
more
and-
up than wide, if anything, right?
It's one of the older style homes.
Yeah, we only saw the picture of the outside, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh,
but our broker looked at it. And
They want to go look at it. And to be honest, man, she did everything literally in our first like initial meeting, like as versus the other people we spoken to. They kind of just made us do things on our own, and then we send them what we wanted, and we rarely got any feedback if it was good or bad, or sometimes we just got like, nope, it's not good. She actually just did everything for us and
So-
talked us through it, and says, hey, you want to put them in this one? This is the numbers. And we're like, yep, let's go. All within an hour meeting
nice.
versus 2 to 3
Yeah.
weeks going back and forth on a yes or a no, and nightmare.
So this was the broker that you were playing phone tag with?
Yes, we were playing phone tag
Yeah.
with her, but she was
Yeah.
in midst of chaos.
Yeah.
And when we got something on the calendar, then she got back on routine. Things
Nice.
got back to normal, and then she executed like she said she was going to execute, which is
Nice.
amazing.
It's good to hear. I'm really happy to hear that for you. man.
Yeah.
yeah, and then I was looking at the property a little bit, and I noticed that it was originally listed for a higher amount. So us offering a little bit more than what they had reduced it to should help us out.
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
because then
Yeah.
they probably no one's getting any. They're not getting any bids, maybe, or what they want.
Yeah, it's been on the market for over a year, I think. So
Oh snap! Yeah.
it should be good. It just depends.
So-
I guess the house has a tenant in it right now.
Yeah.
So it's going to depend on that, if that becomes an issue or not.
Yeah, but she's on top of her stuff, which is
Yep.
really good. So something I wanted to bring up, I was going to talk about a little bit of self-assessing. Like Victor said, we're almost in halftime of our year. And have we all been able to do that a book a month type thing, right? Because at the end of the day, I think majority that's what drives this podcast is that book a month, self-developing, getting stronger every day, obviously. But I think as the accountability, we kind of just fell through the cracks a little bit on accountability with this group. I think a little bit. I think we have fell through the cracks when it comes to, hey man, what book are you reading? Are you going to finish it within the month? What are y'all reading right now? I don't even know what y'all guys are reading right now.
I got
Yeah, that's a
green
good
light.
point. Oh,
Green
you
Light's
got
my
that
book.
book? Yeah. I have a few books here that I'm gonna start reading. That I bought. I just haven't picked up like as a plan to read. So I'll let you guys know next podcast what I'm reading for sure. It's already May 1st or May, what is it, 2nd?
Yeah. So with Vic, I totally understand with your wife starting her own business, you now have to share your time of grind, right? And so I feel the same situation now that Desi's full time back into her grind entrepreneurship, that she has to work 2 different businesses. I now have to take on more responsibility with the kids, and I have to strap the baby onto me. I got to keep an eye on the baby. And at that point where I'm like an hour, 2 hours, that I can't do nothing. Like I can't work. Right. And so I get it, especially if your wife is like all in on a project. Right. And so you have to take on that responsibility. And so I totally understand everyone if they haven't fallen off, because at the end of the day, I think that's up to this group to keep everyone pushing forward.
Yeah. And it happens, like I would say for those listening, it happens like you set your goals, you want to do something, it happens, you set up and down, but it's got to be consistent and have that accountability. Like Jonathan's making us accountable to making sure, hey, let's run it back. So it's kind of the things that, we want to continue to do with each other, and to those listening, find those people as well to keep you accountable. It's easy to say, half of the year, I didn't do it real. Might as well not continue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Don't like, next year's gonna be better. No, I mean, right?
I know, right?
I think that's the mindset.
Happen.
Like, what do you mean? You still got like 6 months left to jump back on. And so the faster
Yeah.
you get on, the faster you can make an adjustment. But it always goes down to the routine. Get back into a routine.
Yep.
Make sure that your lifestyle now comforts your goals and serves your goals. Because if they don't, then you need to change your lifestyle. So Chris, what was the last book that you read?
What was the last book I read? It
probably
was the first
Blankenship.
Generation Father.
Yeah, that's the one I was gonna say.
Generation Father.
That was the last book I read, but I already started reading The Shoe Dog about Phil Knight. I've had it for a while, but I finally started reading it. I wanted to save that, so yeah,
good,
I just
man.
got into that.
That's a great story.
Yeah, so far it's been good. I'm about I think 70 pages in or so.
Okay.
So.
And what are you guys reading over here?
I'm reading
Green Lights.
Yeah, Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. The last book I read was
Personality Doesn't Change.
Yeah,
it's not permanent.
Personality is not permanent. Yeah, but then I thought I looked it over there, and I think I'm gonna get what Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins is plugging me my next.
Another inspirational.
David
next
Goggins.
month's book.
Should look something from him. Yeah.
He's
I have 3 credits for books, and I don't know what to do with them. So.
Oh, yeah.
I listen to my books.
And then Vic, do you know which book you're gonna get next?
I have one that I've been hanging on to. I forgot it, but I got it with the other one, the Millionaire Habits one. I read that one, right? And so I bought 2. It was that one in a different book. I forgot the name of it right now, but it's more of on productivity type of thing.
Yeah. So. Be more effective with your work. I think I finished 2 books in 1 month. I think it did Blankenship, the Generation Father, and then I finished Matthew McConaughey's book in like a week, which is his story. He's just a normal freaking dude living life to the edge and then coming back to middle, living life to the edge, like touching it, like playing with the fire and just seeing where that takes.
I like dudes like that, man. I like successful people that are like normal, you know what I'm saying?
Down to earth guy. And he didn't even know how to handle his success, his fame. And he just wanted to just be, an everyday dude again. And he struggled and, but once again, that struggle forced him to look and how to grow elsewhere, which is just a very inspiring guy. And just, man.
And one thing we forgot to mention last week when we were talking about him was how the 2 of us actually saw him in person. We ate at the same restaurant.
Yeah, we did.
When?
That.
This was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So, Chris loaned me $4,000 to buy my wife's engagement ring. And I wanted to take this dude to the highest end sushi restaurant there is. And the number 1 restaurant in Austin is Uchi.
Uchi.
And
I want some Uchi. I'm scared.
So as we're waiting in line, we're outside just having a drink, I think, or water or whatever, like gourmet peas, snap. I don't know.
I think we were eating edamame or something.
Edamame,
whatever that is. I was like, what the hell is this, dude? How do I eat this? Anyways, a Sprinter van comes up, Mercedes Sprinter van, right? One of those big giant vans, big nice Mercedes vans. Anyways, it pulls up, and it looks like a truck would hold flowers, like like one of those things, but it's a Mercedes. And out comes Matthew McConaughey's and his whole family. And then we're sitting there. I think Desi noticed because she's like starstruck. She's all like, one of the girls noticed. They're like hitting us. And I was like, what are we looking at? And then they're the most handsome man I've ever seen in my life. Hair flowing. I didn't realize he's like our height, like 5'10". Maybe a little shorter. Yeah. And I'm just like,
he walks around like he's fucking 6'12".
Dude, they go in the restaurant. We're not in yet. Obviously, they go in into the very back room. And it was just a cool experience. I don't think I've ever seen a celebrity at that highest level like that just walking into a restaurant with his family.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, man. Celebrities got power, man. Because they're that's their name. That's their like, oh yeah, we want to, restaurants do that.
Did you know he got arrested here in Austin? Fought the cops, almost fought the cops naked. He was on a 3-day freaking binge of Longhorns won some type of game. And dude just partied for 3 days straight when his birthday suit, which is naked, right? If nobody knows what the birthday suit is, smoking weed and banging on his banjos, and cops just come raid this fool, man.
Yeah, the
And
neighbors
he
got tired of it.
refused. Yeah, he refused to put on his clothes. Said, "Nah, this is my proof that y'all just broke in." And all the way up until the jailhouse, one of the inmates was like, "No, you're gonna want to wear this." So,
Yeah, right.
he's all like, "Good point," and he put it on. But so they're wild, like. It's a wild guy, man. So I would truly like admire this man so much that my next book, I haven't found it because I just finished Green Lights, is going to be on spiritual development. Right. I feel like just like the last book, Generation of Fatherhood.
First
generation father.
It talks about the three energies, right? And I kind of already had that mindset, train your body, train your mind. But the spiritual part's kind of always been empty for me. And I've always struggled. And so I'm going to do a deep dive and just like really go book on book and practice, and to see where that leads me. Matthew McConaughey inspired me to go out and like touch that fire, go feel it, go deep dive, and then, come back and, see what you learn and apply it.
Dude, next podcast, it's just going to be us three. And then we'll say Jonathan went on a mission to Tibet. And he'll be back whenever he comes back.
Jonathan left, bro. Yeah. MIA.
Spiritual journey.
Spiritual journey.
I come some back. Peyote somewhere in the desert.
I come back on the table sitting, crisscross applesauce like this.
Floating, not even sitting on the bench.
Floating, brother. Yeah. Gained powers. That would be pretty cool. No, man. So during our little fun topic, or actually just talking about the what's been happening this past week, I kind of threw a hint. I said deep practice. Why did I even say that? Deep practice. What was the conversation just now?
Liz was her charcuterie board.
Yeah, Liz was working on a security board, and I was like, yeah, she's in that deep practice. And Victor probably got caught off guard as something else, maybe sexual. Oh, yeah, that's just how my mind works. Yeah. But it wasn't sexual because we're about to deep dive into the 10,000 hour rule. And if you're not familiar with the 10,000 hour rule, that's when you go into deep practice of honing and developing your skills. And over 10,000 hours, you can kind of say that you've kind of mastered this skill. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today is, have you ever heard of the 10,000 hour rule? How do you apply it? Is it even real? That's what we want to get into today. And so off the top, I'm going to have Victor kind of just jump into what he believes about the 10,000 hour rule. And is that even something that we should all be, striving for? 10,000 hours. Wait, before you go into Victor, 10,000 hours, I want Ian to break down this bad boy. So what does it? Yeah. So the breakdown, 10,000 hours.
My math might be right or it might be completely wrong. So, if you did an hour a day, that would take you roughly 28 years to get up to 10,000
roughly
hours.
So all those little guys out there doing the real math,
it was like 27.7562. Like,
exactly, Chris is over there cringing because he has the real numbers. He's got the decimals.
So it's something like that. Yeah.
But so if you did 2 hours a day, obviously that gets cut in half. So it's closer to 14-ish.
If you 6 hours is 10, right?
We didn't do 6. We did 8 because on average people work 8 hours a day.
So if you did 8 hours a day for the whole year, it would take you 3.5 years to get to 10,000 hours
to become a master.
And then 10 hours is just below 3 years. It was like 2 years. It was just over 2.5 years. Give or take some hours, minutes, seconds.
Yeah. So this 10,000 hour rule is based on the book by Malcolm Gladwell. Bestseller Outliers: The Story of Success. So he talks about how certain special people, he names like Bill Gates, he names like other people, successful people, musicians, chess players, stuff like that, they have something in common to where the research led them to, to hone a skill to become like really good at it, you would have to spend roughly like 10,000 hours doing that, honing that skill or practicing that skill or doing that skill to make you like a good expert on that area. So this was interesting. Like I saw a bunch of videos, a lot of tech talks and things around it and things like that to kind of get me familiar with that. And I remember hearing this a while back So like you said, 10,000 hours is a lot. Like if you spend 1 hour, it's like 28 years, or 2 hours, 14 years. So it seems like a long period of time.
I don't like this rule because that means I'm not an expert or a master at fitness. I feel like I mastered fitness. And so if you go by the 10,000 hour rule, I think I have another 10 years. And I've been 10 years in the game of deep practice.
Yeah. But I think I think they're counting too, like when you first started fitness, like when was the first time you ever remember starting working out? Like you could have been 10, 11 years old.
I was in the womb.
I was in the womb, make reps,
sit-ups,
doing push-ups and stuff. Yeah. So I'm with you. Like, I don't think this rule applies. I think there's too many variables. I think for certain things, like I think chess is like, when he talks about chess, I think that's really good. Or maybe learning like a instrument. I think you got to put in like, the hours of practicing and stuff like that. And you could put maybe a fixed like number or hours on it to where you become really good at it. But there's so many things that I think you can't really just apply that. I think you have to think specifically on things that you can put hours on. I think like flying a plane, or, they have like hours on that, things like that. I think there's so many variables. So to me, it's like, because you could be like, say, like fitness is a good one, right? Like, but I think you got to think about a couple of things. I think as far as to become a skilled and expert at is, I think you also got to be, some people are just naturally gifted at something that they don't really
point at me.
That much. No, I'm not pointing at you. But they could be naturally gifted at that skill, and it takes them less to master it, right?
Those are outliers. Those outliers always exist everywhere.
Yeah. And sometimes also is those and then there is people that maybe don't get it right away, but then naturally, or they're getting lucky, or they get lucky, right? Certain things to become successful in something, like luck had to do something with it, right? Right time, right moment, right people, stuff like that to be successful at something.
So there's it's like throwing a needle in a haystack. I mean, there's so many things that are involved. I get that. Like you bring up that great point. Chris. Hold on, Chris. We can't hear you.
You're muted, my guy.
Oh, my bad. I muted it when I was drinking water. My bad.
It was your beard.
All right. Well, what I was going to say was that that book was based off a study done by Anders Ericsson, like the 10,000 hour rule. That he was studying people learning the violin and just mastering it, and even him who was the original and do the study doesn't even really agree with the 10,000 hour rule, because he's saying, what if you have a better teacher? Like, can someone teach you it in a quicker time frame? Or if you're learning to play it incorrectly but you practice it for 10,000 hours, doesn't mean that you're going to be a master at it.
Yeah.
And so
I think that's true. Like the quality of time spending on something, like you can be like not really trying to learn something, and and spend all those hours and not be good at it.
That's what we were talking about too before this. It's how you execute, because like me doing something for 10 hours and him doing the same thing for 10 hours, like the quality of the practice of that 10 hours his could be completely different than mine. His could be better than mine, or mine can be better than his, depending on how efficient we are in that specific time frame. But another thing that actually Jonathan brought up that I liked before we started talking was that the variable, like he could be teaching himself something where I could be being taught by somebody who's already teaching me the shortcuts to do the right things and just skip over the bad things.
He got the master and I'm just being self-taught.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to take me a lot longer, maybe 10,000 hours, versus if Ian just went ahead and grabbed the master and said, hey, I'll pay you this X amount of money if you just teach me. Ian could get it within, half the time or maybe more.
Yeah.
I think that's so. I do want to be back. We are debunking it in a way, but I want to go back to, I like this idea as a starting base.
It's a good core.
Because people are like, man, I'm going to work 8 hours a day for an extended period of time. How come I'm not getting a raise? How come, they're looking for ways of how can I get better? And they're going to stumble across a 10,000 hour rule, concept, right? And because you can go to work 8 hours and just like Ian said, if you go to work for 8 hours for a whole year, but you're still producing the same amount you did last year, it doesn't matter how many hours you're going to work, right? You're not producing more. You're not being intentional and deliberate on your craft to get better. And at the end of the day, I think ultimately you have to realize that you have to hone in on your craft. So that's rule number one. I feel like you need to understand, all right, if I want to get a better raise, or if I want to get more money, or that next promotion, or whatever that next level is for you, you have to come with grips of just being there, present, just doing the day-to-day on the average, giving 50% effort. You're not going to get there. You're going to get to the point where you have to realize I need to hone in and become a master and do more work than the guy next to you in a more effective way. So that 10,000 hour rule now pushes you into, okay, I need to hone in and I need to be able to produce more than I did last year, because now that's going to get me where I want to go. Were you going to say something?
No, I think that's good. I think there's, I agree with you. Like, I think there's something to be learned about, like from the book or from this rule, that you definitely got to put some time into something. Time, I think it's, for me, is be not just time, but time and effort. Like, you got to, like you say, like work at something to get better. So you can't just say, oh, I'm gonna put $10,000 and magically be good at something. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I think you do have to learn to like put some effort in, discipline, and learning that you also, and I think something maybe the book doesn't, I haven't read the whole book, but something that maybe are missed is like, is that to be good at something, you have to fail at some point, like to learn and grow and get better at something eventually, right? And I think you can't just like, I'm gonna do something and then think it's gonna go easy peasy and then I'm gonna be good, But yeah, definitely, I think some things are also, you get better over time. You can't skip, can't have really shortcuts. You eat something, it's just being, you're gonna get good at it just by doing it. So I think I agree with that piece. Like, yeah, it's gonna take you a while to get good at something. Like athletics, like we put kids when they're, for those that like show gift, yeah, they started playing sports. Like, I guess the GOATs, they started playing like really early age, like, and so they started playing at 5, 6, 7 or so. I think about soccer players that way. Like, I think about like Messi or like Ronaldo, like the top soccer players right now. Like they were playing when they were like 4 or 5 years old, and it's just gifted. Like, I think over time, they weren't good at that point, but over time they showed obviously skill and gift, but like over time they got to where it's gonna be. I think anything, there's some things you can get good over time. You can't just speed it up.
And there's a difference between elite and being a master at something. You can be an elite athlete or an elite at whatever skill it is, but that doesn't mean that you're the best. Like, how many, like, I mean, if you just think of professional sports in general, technically the guys on the bench, those guys are elite too, because they're able to make it.
Pretty good,
yeah. But like the top of the top are like the masters.
So check it out. Here's how I look at it. The guys are making it pro, get drafted, whatever the case, whatever sport you want. It's so many people are putting more than 10,000 hours in the sport realm because they're starting at such a young age.
Yeah.
And still, even if they put their 10,000 hours in plus more, it's still 0.00000000001%.
People making it to
that
the league,
still make it. Yeah. So yes, you got to put those 10,000 hours in, but like I said, you got to make sure you have the right team on your side. You got to make sure that you're doing the right things. Perfect, like the efficiency when you go into these things. Don't just think like what Victor said, just show up for 10,000 hours. That's one way to triple that time. That's just a one-way ticket that you probably never do what you really want to do, because you're showing up with 50% effort. And so I want to give something tangible. So somebody who looking to make it to the next level, I want to get better. I want to put the 10,000 hours in. Right? That's a good path to kind of follow. So they might be trying to, and this could be anybody, they might be trying to do a whole lot of things to get better. Like, man, I need to be doing, like, they self-assess. Great, you self-assess and you have all these things you need to work on. And now they're trying to work on everything. And so I want to lead into, this is how you become more effective and efficient with the 10,000 hour rule, because this is a quote: when you try to be good at everything, you're great at nothing. And so this is where you need to really narrow down to just one specific thing. And I want to be the best at this one single thing. Then you're going to be far more effective than if you're trying to perfect other areas in your life. And I think we all can agree, one's better than two, two's better than three. You start dipping into three, then everything's going to be, what's soggy bread. I don't know.
Soggy water. I never heard about that.
I never heard. That's something that I just made up top of my head. My mouth moves faster than my brain. So please, give me some cushion there, guys.
Yeah. I think
get that.
That'd be interesting to see soggy water. I'd pay to see
Soggy
it.
water. Name this podcast
no.
Soggy Water.
I agree with that
Soggy
100% because that, like, when we first started being friends, I even now, I openly admit that I have a big problem of trying to be good at too many things, or I'm good at a lot, but I'm not great at one specific thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's good and bad, I guess, in having that type of characteristic, but I'm still wanting to find that one thing that I'm just not even elite, but a master.
You gotta do a deep dive.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta do what Matthew McConaughey is. Just, hey, go in the direction.
Take
Focus,
peyote, get naked.
take it out there, brother. Get naked and go with it, and figure out where you go and where you end up.
Arrested.
I think that's the problem. They try to take it to a certain degree, and they don't see things moving, so they back off and they try something else.
Yeah, I think I was going to mention is, like, I think other thing that we can learn from it is that you definitely got to stick it out, right? When we broke down the hours, how much it'll take, we were talking about years. So definitely, if you're trying to achieve something like career-wise and things like that, you definitely got to put in where that, over time, if you put in effort, you're learning new stuff, you're putting yourself out there, you're producing more, that over time, like, you'll get to where you want to go. So that, I think that's one thing, is saying, hey, stick it out in certain things, because over time, like I said, you're not going to have overnight success. It's going to take some time to get where you want to be. So stay disciplined, stay in it. Right, don't quit too early, type of thing. So I think that's one thing I think you can learn from it.
I think we're speaking to the people who are wanting to move to the next level.
Yeah.
What about those people that are stuck in the mud? Like, all they're doing is watching. They're on the sideline just watching. How do we get them to move? Because at one point we all were that person, all right? Like, so for example, people right now with the NFL draft. Now, I don't want to be a douchebag and I don't want to judge, but how I see it in my eyes, some of these guys have big dreams, big goals, but are sitting here watching the NFL draft and getting excited as if they got drafted into the NFL. Like, they're getting that high from somebody else being drafted into the NFL when they could be working to get drafted to the NFL, or whatever the case may be. Like, those people are sidelined watching, getting the high as if they just won the $1 million freaking draft ticket.
Yeah, well, people get inspired by watching other people succeed. I think that's
how long can you watch?
Yeah, well, it depends on what you want, man. It depends on what you want. So it depends on, I would say, what you want and how much do you want it. So I think we're different. Everyone's different as far as, like, going after it, wanting it, right, and stuff like that. But I think also it's just, I think, lack of access and education. Like, some people see that as being drafted, like, oh, that's just out of my reach, right? But they see a certain level of success, it's like, oh, I'm never gonna get there. Like, oh, that's just not in my cards. I think it's just, I think it's a mindset, education, and opening, like, your broader view of life to where you can see yourself, I can do that too. I think getting people to believe it and know that there's a door you can open that can get you somewhere to where you're not just an spectator anymore.
Yeah,
I think that has a lot to do with it. I think a lot of people just see that as, like, oh, that's something unattainable for me. But I think it's just lack of, opportunity, education, and just, like, being exposed. We talk about exposure, right? Just being exposed to, like, oh, normal Joe, you did it. You came from the same hood that I came up. Okay, So I think that's a lot to do with it. I feel, and because it's funny, because we're just talking about, me and my wife had a conversation about a lot of stuff yesterday, and then we're talking about our parents and how, like, I think they're doing better than their generation was, but I think they missed the step to go to the next level, right? They're still stuck somewhere. Yeah. To where I think we, as our generation, kind of unlocked it a little bit, but I think it has to do with it's just education, just knowing there's the next step. Some people just don't know there's a next step. There's this is where it ends,
Yeah. Exposure, you said it, right? Exposure can determine your level of success. Truly believe it, right? Because right now our exposure with each other has determined our level of success, right? We're not hanging out with millionaires yet. which is probably why we're not millionaires now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so if that was the case, if we had a millionaire here, then I would far be more greater to achieving that level soon, or relatively faster.
I need Bill Gates' phone number right now.
Yeah, and as far as like, and as
Bill,
far
can
as
you hear me?
exposure goes, yeah, it's like we see so much on social media, and like they didn't have social media back then. Even though a lot of that stuff might not even be legit, like it puts the idea in your head that you can get to that point. And so, like you said, that exposure is a big thing. It's a big deal, like, because if you don't know anything about what's out there, like you don't know. It's like you don't know what you don't know. Yeah.
Don't know. I got a quote. It hit me hard because we're in the information. We're in the era of information, right? There's information everywhere, and so this versus back in the day, like there was no information. So there's this one quote, and it says, "In today's world, we are drowning with information, but we're starving for wisdom."
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah,
that's deep.
So
I think that's true, and I think that's true. I'm also that's true. I think that's true because I think you can have access to knowledge, you can know how to do something, but then you got to know how to use it to get to somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the knowledge piece, like knowing how to use it. Like I said, I can go in through a seminar on real estate and then do it. But what I do with the knowledge and how I apply it,
what I go next,
right?
It's gonna be like I think that's where it comes. Or I mean, it could be other things, right? I just said that in an example, but because we talk about it, but I think that's true. I think knowing how to do something, because I think like a lot of people are like you said, stuck in the world. Like I know like people like family members and stuff like that. They're young. They're like, and then they're like, oh, they're like, I don't know what to do with my life.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, dude, like you got so much, like you got no kids, you got nothing. Like, oh my God, you have so much opportunity. Like that's not gonna hold you back, type of thing.
Like, but who listens to old men?
I do.
Honestly, like, who does? I can't remember at being 21 to listen to anybody older than me. Like I didn't care what you said.
So right. I was different. I was very like respectful of older people, and I think because I was around a lot more older people.
I mean, they stink.
Not those type of.
I know.
But like, I remember I took a business class in college, my first year of college. It was an older dude, and he was spitting knowledge. Like, and back then, and that I didn't even capture it, but he was talking about like diversifying and having different things as streams of income. And so when I think about that's like wisdom, like you should be like learning that. And it's funny because not funny, but I'm so like I think blessed that we have this community and us that we're talking about this, because I think Arch, like for me, I know and Jonathan does as well, and I think Ian will with her kids, is that we started like impacting our generation a little bit. Like my son, like he's like, how do I invest? Like we had that conversation. I'm like, well, is this like we just have a whole conversation about that. So like his train of thought is already changing. And then he's like, all right, I'm gonna save this much money and then I'm gonna put it into like, yeah, we'll do it. Like, so we have a goal, like we're gonna, so we have a goal for him to have this much income. Like for him it was a lot, and then we're gonna put it into something to create wealth on his own. And he's like 14 now. So
yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, like you always hear the quote, knowledge is power, but you're hearing a lot more people, and I've always kind of said this as well, is it's not knowledge is power, it's applied knowledge is power. So if you're not doing anything with the knowledge, then it's useless.
Yeah,
that was me for the longest.
So the fact that your son is doing that is great.
Knowledge is power, knowledge is power. And then somebody, I think Desiree's brother, he's like, no, knowledge is powerful when it's applied. And I was like, oh, I like being humble. Like I may sound confident and arrogant at some points, mainly a lot, but I'm always willing to eat that humble pie. Like I love eating the humble pie because it makes me better. Like I love it. I love it. Like it may not seem like it, but like I got my ass kicked today by Sergio playing basketball, but I'm like loving it because I know I'm just one step closer. Today, actually, when we played basketball, he didn't steal the ball from me.
I
He
was watching
always
the whole
hits the
time.
ball. He always has those hands. But I've been consciously working on making sure, like, I got to get back into that game where I know how to fly the ball out. So he no longer knocks it out. So to me, he had won. In his eyes, he won. But to me, I took a win myself. He didn't. I just practice him not snatching the ball out of my hand. And so today there was no snatching of the ball.
I'm glad you scored 1 point, brother.
I got 1 point, brother. No, man. Let me say his shot, his fadeaway. He put hours of work in, brother.
He got fired up because you said, I don't know what you said to him.
I said something, bro.
Then he said, he's like, all right, then let's go 1-on-1.
Yeah,
like,
he got like aggressive a little bit. I was like, let's go.
Upset. He was calm. He was like walking it before, like back.
I don't even know what I said, but I talked so much shit on purpose.
He was going at you that one time.
Yeah, he was going at, but I love it because I just know that's only gonna make me better. And then I'm going to win one day on this podcast. You can be like, yep, I've been putting those specific hours in. I do have another quote. Y'all have any quotes? I happen to get some quotes.
I get any quotes.
Oh, you.
Go ahead.
All right, let's hit this quote up. Let's see, where is it at? Oh, one real encounter is far more valuable than the several hundred observations.
Oh, I like that.
So for the people sidelining.
Yeah. I think it's because you got to do something, like action it out. Like you got to do something to really, I think that was one of the things also that I liked about this book, or the 10,000 Hours thing, is like it really gets you to do, like you got to do something to get better at it. Like you just got to do it. Like you can't just read about it. You can't just watch videos. At one point, you got to do it yourself to get even good. Like driving. That's one of the things that I was telling my wife about this topic. I was like, like driving is one thing that you get good at over time. Like you got to put those, like, when you start driving 18 and stuff, you're not good. Like,
terrible.
Yeah, and then like you really start driving. I feel like I'm a really good driver now. Like, oh my God, I got in so many fender benders when I was a kid. Really,
I totaled 3 cars.
I was like, God damn it! Like I remember like it was a good year when I had like 4 or 5 like little accidents. I'm like, God damn it! I was so frustrated. And it was like dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But now it's like I learned, I'm like, all right, like, I'm a chill. I don't need to like drive fast anywhere. I just, just now as I get there, so like now like the growth of like, so I think that's one thing that
wisdom you were talking about.
Yeah. It's like, but just over time, there's some things you just you get good at over time, but you got to do it though. Like that's the quote they said, like, you got to, like, I think it's more beneficial to do something, maybe not do good at it, instead of just watching.
So for example, me playing Sergio, I was practicing on my own, right?
Oh yeah.
But me actually playing Sergio was far more valuable to my time than me practicing on my own.
Yeah.
That one encounter of me playing Sergio now makes me that much closer, better.
Yeah.
So that's tangible.
That's why I like that you bring your son Slice to the games, because he's getting way much better than playing kids his own age. You know what I'm saying?
So I rather raise a savage and then learn how to tame it later, because we all get to the point where I don't want to raise my son where he's shy to shoot.
Yeah.
Now I'm not just talking about shooting basketball. I'm just talking about shooting in general, trying in general. We could be, because in today's society, there's so many things of embarrassment, don't want to look stupid, of taking risk. Like if I can teach him now to bypass that, take all the risk, go. You're still young. There's not a whole lot of, damage that could happen. And then we learn how to tame it later, because it's being a shy shooter now, I have to go through that. That was mentally tough. I was at the parks, being a monster at the parks at an early age. And then when they finally put me in organized sports, I was the worst dude. I was scared to shoot.
I went
so
like
scared.
that too. I'm glad you said that, because I went through the same thing. Like I was good, like with at the courts. When it came to organized basketball, I was scared. I was like, I don't know what to do. Yeah, I was thinking too much of the plays instead of playing. Like, Coach, okay, I'm supposed to pass
so
it.
mad. So mad at me. After every game in practice, I demolished everyone. But you put me in the game in front of all my friends and peers and my pops and everyone, I was just struck. Like I couldn't even dribble. And I had crazy hands. And he would just yell at me. And
my
then
coach wasn't yelling, but my coach would be like, dude.
No, he was a Mexican. He was like old school Mexican, brother. Old school.
I have black coaches, but they were like, what's up, man? Like, you get to loosen up, I was like, just shoot, just do your game.
Listen,
like, all right.
he got me halftime. I have my friend Matthew, the one we hung out with. He's still around.
Yeah.
He was there for my big moment where everything just switched. Coach said something to me. I think he cussed me out, like, you know, on the cool. And he's like, shoot the fucking ball, Ricardo. And then I was like, I was kind of scared. Like, okay. And then I shot it and it went in. And then I scored 33 points that game.
Yeah.
And then the rest was history.
Yeah.
But like, if I didn't, that's what I'm saying. If I could teach my kids and people around me to just
actually do
like, just shoot first, right? Failure is all like, hey, if we can get over failure, understand failure, that it's a blessing. It's for us to grow and get stronger. And then it's not make it a big deal. That's the problem. We make failure as such a big deal that they're never going to want to fail. And I'm trying to be the opposite. Like, I'm just trying to switch the flip here. And like, no, failure is great. We need to fail. So when we go play basketball with the big boys, my son's only 13. We're playing against 20 to 30-year-old men. I'm like, son, if you get the goddamn ball, shoot it. I was like, I don't care if you miss it. It's not a big deal. We're not going to get a trophy out of this. I'm still going to go home. I'm going to shoot and miss more than you shoot. So trust me, shoot the damn ball.
It was funny because me and Sergio passed the ball to him. He was surprised every single time he got the ball. He was like, yeah.
And he shot. Bro, he like got the ball. He shot. He's like, dude, bah, air ball. And I figured after that first air ball, he's not going to shoot again. I was like, you can go shoot again. But he shot again. And I think it hit ram, but he still shot. And I was like, a so proud moment there.
Shoot.
For him to shoot again after he just airballed in front of everyone. And I talked to him on the ride there. Are you nervous? He's like, yeah. I was like, good. It's going to make you try harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that reminds me of like before I moved out here to Texas, there's these guys that I used to play with like every Thursday night.
Hot in here.
And
take it off.
I'm on my third water bottle, bro.
And like the guys that I play with, one of them, like, I mean, one of the brothers was like 15 or something, and then one of the brothers' youngest son was like a year older than him. So like we had two kids that were like still early in high school playing with a bunch of grown men, and a lot in their 30s, their 40s. Some guys that are like 6'5", 6'6", and like these are little Filipino guys that were like still growing, and they were probably like 5'6", 5'7", but you would see over the years or over the time, like they just got more and more confident with their game, and they were a lot more fearless to go into the key or like try to take that three or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think something to learn from this is that, you know, you gotta do that. You gotta actually do whatever, right? If you want to learn how to be a chef or learn to cook better, whatever it is, you just gotta practice. You gotta really do it to, you know, get better and get good at it.
I got a phrase. I can't wait to get to mastery so I can stop with what I'm doing and do something else.
Yeah,
what do y'all feel about that? Do you feel like if you hit a certain level that you can completely stop and move and switch gears to something else?
No, I think once you reach success, like a certain level of success on something that you've been working on so hard, I think that journey and that process and then hitting that, I think opens up your mind to like, you know what, if I can do this, I can probably do something else. So I think I think you're right. I think that little quote, little phrase, I think has it right. Like when you're good at something, you're like, okay, man, I can apply the same knowledge or principles I learned to be successful in this area. I can probably apply the same principles and grind on this thing I don't know anything about, but I think I can get there. I think that's how it.
I might have a different take. What about you?
Yeah, I kind of have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
Like part of me feels like, oh, so you hit mastery, so you're just gonna stop doing it? Like, are you gonna remain a master if you don't practice it? But then the other side is, okay, you reached a certain level, like you're still gonna be good even if you don't do it for a long time, and you could work on mastering something else. But I don't know. I'm kind of like, I can't decide
I think
which way to lean towards.
Like maintain your mastery on what you did, but learn something different. That's how I was taking it. So like, I think it'll make me like hungry for something else.
Here's something tangible. I believe I've achieved mastery in fitness. I believe that I can have full control with whatever I do with my fitness game personally, right? Now, I'm not talking about coaching others. That's just a different ball game. That's still a level that I need to work on. But as far as my fitness level by itself, I feel the mastery, the hours that I put in, I feel like I've reached it. and I want to focus because, hey, remember, one thing's better than two is better than three. I spent a whole 10 years of mastering fitness. I've got there. Now I want to go and apply all my focus into something else, but I cannot forget the things that got me into fitness. I still have to maintain that level or else my body will degrade.
Yeah.
But I can still, but now that I know I can maximize it, when I get to master it, it comes a lot easier. It's not I'm not the first timer no more. So my mastery is now autopilot. Literally, I'm in the gym, could be listening to an audible book, not even worried about my muscles. And I'm just in there, just doing what I need to do day in, day out, clock in, clock out. But for somebody, they haven't achieved that level. So it might take more energy. For me, because I've achieved this mastery and this fitness, it's autopilot, brother. Now I can like focus on mastering something else. I believe that's what mastery has gotten me into fitness. I've yet to master anything else, but I feel like my next journey is on mastering self-development, mastering the fitness, the intellectual, and the spiritual. And it's like a never-ending journey, and I'm like ready and psyched for it. But that's how I see it. I feel like it's like leadership.
Yeah.
It's like leadership. If you master a certain level, there's 5 levels of leadership. If you master a certain level, you go to the next level, you then have to still carry the first level with you. And it's just stacking blocks. And if you forget about it, you can go back right down to level 1. So you have to remain that focus of level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And if you forget and you don't maintain it and you don't build, you could drop off easily. So that's how I would see it.
It's easy to forget the basics once you reach a certain level. And sometimes even when you struggle, you just have to go back and work on those basics all over again.
Yeah.
And that's how I saw it.
Yeah. And I think something else too, I think that you kind of mentioned right now is there's some things that you're always going to continue to get better at, but never really become a master at. I was listening to this video about, let's say, like this music writer. Like he feels he's been writing songs forever. He got platinum, songs and albums, but he feels like he hasn't even mastered like songwriting still. So he feels like there's certain areas or certain things that I think you just continue to grow at. You never reach the epitome, but you're still getting better at it every time.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that can drop beats, but they're not Dr. Dre or who else, Timbaland or something like that.
Yeah, but I think also even in music, I think music is like the toughest business to be in because you always seem to have to top yourself, almost.
You have to adapt. You have to adapt to the times too.
Yeah.
And it's subjective. It's subjective.
Yeah, it's true.
Like
some people like it, some people don't.
Dude. Like honestly, that's really hard when you have to go into a world of subjectiveness.
Yeah, and you have to depend on other people's approval, like
music. Other people's opinion. Like, dude, I'm put this out, put my heart and soul into it. You can hate it, you can like it, and I'm gonna put it out there. Let's cross our fingers. And people liked it, you're a hit. But no, I agree, man. I think we hit a good mark, guys. On a recap.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, 10,000 hours. I think we can all agree is a good base to go off of. Like you do have to put a lot of effective hours in honing in, and I believe on one specific thing. I'm always going to take that token from Kobe Bryant, what we learned from the Mamba mentality as he did building blocks. I'm going to be the best I can at a jump shot. And then I'm going to be the best at driving. And then I'm going to be the best. And then over time, he's developed a toolkit, right? Hey, we go back to that toolkit. Remember the beginning of the podcast, talk about the toolkit, sharpen those tools. And that's what Kobe Bryant believes in, sharpen those tools and then you can move on to the next one. But, so hone in on one specific thing, get it really sharp. I'm not saying go 10,000 hours, but to be more effective with it, do one thing because you can be far better off than two. Two's gonna be better than three. Find a mentor who's probably already mastered the game because that's going to get you there where you want to be a whole lot faster than doing it by yourself. Like, guys, if we could find someone who's super successful and a millionaire on this podcast, we're going to get to where we need to. We got some work to do. Like, we need to network and go get into the know because exposure is everything. And then what's some other things to help out with people that want to go to the next level?
Also, I think and then I guess some things we just over time you will have you have to put in that work. You have to put in that work over time, and also not just put in the time, but also put in that effort. into it as well. So don't expect to just miraculously be good at something because you spend so much time on it. Put the time, but also put some effort. And then also, I would say also, I didn't say that before, but like assess yourself. Like,
oh, you have to. We missed
how
that.
are you doing with what you're working on? Like, have you gotten better? Are you going somewhere? You know, you have to adjust a little bit. Maybe the coach you have sucks. Change your coach. You know, something like that.
Don't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
I'm big on just doing things with a team, because you're gonna lie to yourself and justify yourself to the max. Don't rely on yourself.
And then you talk about assessing yourself. You need to assess like what it is that you actually want to become a master in as well. Because if it's something you don't care that much about, you're not going to put that effective time and effort into it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was good.
Good. 10,000 hours. I say just go for it. No sideline watching. Don't sideline watch. Go for it. One real experience is far greater than you watching on the sideline.
Yeah, I found a quote just right now. Leo Tolstoy, War and Peace. It says the two most powerful warriors are patience and time. I think that applies, especially with 10,000 hours. At least it's me, though.
Be patient.
The two most powerful warriors are patience and time. Having patience, or putting in the time, putting in your reps, and then having patience to allow your practice to actually flourish into what you work you put into it.
And be a monster.
Oh, that's good.
And be a dog.
I like it.
You got to have the dog in there.
Yeah.
Be a dog first, team it later, because it's harder the other way around.
Oh,
I know, right? Yep.
Yeah.
But to close it out, Jonathan, what you got for the week, man?
I need to find a spiritual book. So I need to do some research. I've been listening to Jay Shetty, a podcast about, I've been on it like every day, an hour, because I have the babies and I really like can't do nothing with a baby strapped on me and watching the other one. Desi can. I don't know how she does it, but she's able to work with all that chaos going on. I don't. I'm rocking the baby, and I'm just like watching an interview with Jay Shetty, and he's always talking about spiritual stuff. So I think he has a book out. I think I'm gonna look into it and see where that takes me. In Community Week in a couple weeks, I'm about to be by myself for 3 days. And so I'm
party at a crib.
No, man, no party. I'm about to go deep dive spiritual. Like, guys, I'm serious. Yeah, and
he's gonna be in the butt
next
naked
month,
in his backyard
guys,
with the Congo, with the
y'all gonna see
bongo.
Y'all should see a new Jonathan, right? Because the Jonathan I have now is not the great John. It's not a great Jonathan. I don't have empathy. I'm not very emotional dude, and I need to get in touch with that. Need to figure that shit out. I'm ice cold, man.
Do it, man.
Ice in my vein. Oh, just you made me think of it. So like, there's this thing going around these kids where they're pointing at their forearm, ice in your
That's
veins.
old, bro.
They think it's new. I'm like, no, that's been in the league for a minute. And then there's some parents they don't know what it means.
Russell was like started that ice in his veins.
Ice in your veins.
I was
like I'm cold. Like if I bust a 3 in your face, or when time expires,
like
I got ice in my veins.
Ago.
Like I'm cold. But what's funny is
never heard or seen
is my wife as a friend.
Watch more basketball.
My wife has a friend, and the kids took a picture like that.
That was a drug thing.
And to your point, she's like, "Hey, I'm surprised you let them do that," because I was talking to my aunt, and I asked my cousins, and they're like, "Yeah, it means ice in your veins," and that might mean like a drug thing. And we both laughed out loud. I'm like, "No, it means you got ice in your veins because it's a basketball thing." So we sent her a GIF, and
that's what they call drugs nowadays. Ice.
Ice.
You got that ice.
Yeah, you got that ice, bro.
No, but I'll splash a 3 in your face.
Splash it.
But anyways, Vic, what you got for the week, man?
Really self-assess.
You broke up. He said self-assess.
Damn.
That might be us.
Yeah.
That's
that was us.
Yeah, self-assess, and then just starting to replan out with that, kind of reroute on kind of what I'm gonna do the next 3 months as far as business-wise, goal-wise, recalibrate on I'm reading the books that we said we were gonna read as well. So really that.
Chris, what you got, Topher?
Early in the week, I just want to I need to do some yard work. I need to keep reading. I want to really start looking into. I need into a program that for the real estate, just to look at properties, just to get used to looking at them and doing the comparables. I need to get the username and password from me.
Yeah, just text me, bro. I'll send it to you.
And then I just want to focus on that, and then later on the week, I'm just gonna be working. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be working a lot this coming up week. So
Working.
Let's continue to
Mhm.
read. And if anything, I feel like, self-development are in those three energies of intellectual, physical, and spiritual. So guys, if we can, jump into all three and find a way to make that a lifestyle in our lives, it's going to help everyone out, not just one person. It's all three of us. So self-assess and figure out how can you make it happen. We need all three to find that balance to be the better versions of ourselves.
100%.
Yep.
My week getting back on the workout grind because my dad bod's getting worse and I don't like it. And without going into too much detail, there's just some health stuff within my family that's just making me, and it's crazy that something scary or sad or that just negatively impacts your life makes you reassess mentally and how you need to change now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. So I'm not going to do something to my body to take me away from my family early. So
Routine, whatever it is, always goes down to routine.
But yeah, that's me, baby. Still on that paid leave, baby, till July. So I'm gonna enjoy
Man,
it.
so lucky, bro.
Bro. That
So
is
lucky, bro.
insane.
I gotta rub it in just a little bit. But
Dang.
anyways, as always, thank you for joining us today. Until next time, peace and love.